Afternoon. I hope your summer has been a great one. Getting some good sunlight, traveling with friends or family, going to brunches, festivals, concerts, whatever you find summer joy in. Thank you for joining the Flex MBA Online information session. All right, my name is Briyon Ransome. Some of you may already know me. We may have already had a conversation before. Some of you may not. I'm the Senior Assistant Director of MBA Admissions for Flex MBA Online. It is my pleasure to be here with you all virtually. It's a super exciting time because the application is open for fall 2024. Super excited. And to add, the very first class of the Flex MBA Online will be starting their program this fall of 2023. So it's super exciting. Today, you'll hear some helpful information to assist you in applying. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, as stated before, you can definitely drop them in the Q&A. Thank you for being here, and let's get started. Now today, we do have my colleague Madison Shields with us. She's the Associate Director of MBA Admissions Marketing Communications. I'm doing this presentation. If you have questions, like I stated before, utilize the Q&A, and she can definitely answer your questions throughout the presentation. And we'll also have some time to address those questions after the presentation. All right, let's get started. Why Georgetown McDonough? Our mission is to develop principal leaders with a global mindset to be in service to business and society. We support this mission by preparing our students to be global ready. As you can see, global mindset, Washington, D.C. access, which is awesome. Me being a D.C. native, I can definitely attest to that. Super great area to have access to, and principal leadership. Why an MBA? Usually applicants typically fall into three categories: career enhancer, career switcher, function or industry, or aspiring entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship doesn't necessarily mean you want to start your own company directly after graduation. You may work with a startup, angel investor, or venture capitalist. Work in innovation for a company. These are all great reasons to go for your MBA. It's a degree that can take you far within many industries and job functions. Just a little information there on the screen for you, just seeing the percentage of individuals who get a salary increase, go into managing individuals, obtain a senior leadership position, manage projects, and even switch companies. You may get to the point where, I've been here for a while. I feel like I've mastered this. I'm interested in something, another industry, and the MBA can definitely help you pivot. Georgetown McDonough's ROI. The ROI, which is a return on investment for your MBA, will be a factor of the quality of the education you receive and how well it prepares you for a better paying job upon graduation. Throughout your earning years at Georgetown McDonough, students transform their career potential through their studies, involvement in campus organizations, and by expanding their personal and professional network to include classmates and Georgetown University alumni around the world. The MBA Career Center also offers a variety of programs and services to help students maximize their ROI. And so over the last few years, there have been significant increases in some of our statistics. Our rankings in 2019 and 2021 for our full-time program. In 2022, the Financial Times ranked our full-time MBA at 19. The U.S. News ranked our Flex MBA, which is the in-person for the online, at number 9. And of course, the online isn't ranked yet. It's brand new, just starting this year. But please believe, mark my words, we will be ranked in a few years. So I'm really excited about that. Also, just hearing about the employment stats later on, but, our 2022 full-time MBA grads, 96% of those graduates received an offer within 3 months and 95% of them accepted. Our average compensation for 2022, including bonuses, was around $138K plus $36K in signing bonus. So that's just something to look forward to. So, those are some, many things that we're so proud of. So let's learn more about the Georgetown Flex MBA Online program and how we can provide you with a strong ROI. The curriculum. Georgetown McDonough believes in synchronous learning where you can engage with your professors and peers in live course sessions. Incorporate a mix of synchronous and asynchronous course content that is best suited to the various classes and course topics to maximize your learning. Some courses will be half synchronous and half asynchronous, allowing both flexibility and a rich learning experience. The MBA curriculum is composed of 31.5 credits of required core courses and 22.5 credits of electives. Included intensive learning experiences, which are ILEs. So you'll probably seen that on our website if you visited and were, kind of doing some research on the program. The semesters include 12 weeks of class plus midterm and final exams, periods. Half semesters or modules include 6 weeks of class plus a final exam period. Students will have the ability to choose from a curated list of online electives while having access to join full-time and Flex MBA students in on-campus electives on a space available basis. And then there you will see a like a 3-year sample course plan of how it could potentially flow for you if you're trying to finish in the 3-year mark, which most of the part-time MBA students at Georgetown McDonough, that is the average time that they actually complete the Flex MBA program. A little extra information for you there on the screen. We talked about the live synchronous classes, but just thinking about it, like you want to know like what time those are going to be. So just thinking about it, your courses are going to be Mondays and Wednesdays. The live portion are going to be 8 p.m. to 9:20 p.m., which prior to that, your class usually starts around 6:30. So that is where you'll have this asynchronous portion. So you can really kind of build your schedule how you'll like to. However, just know that it will be Mondays and Wednesdays, and your live portion will be that about hour and a half of the end of that particular course that you are taking in that semester. And as stated before, some courses are a mix of synchronous and asynchronous. Your electives will either be 100% live synchronous, meaning that full elective course could be fully live, where your camera will be on, you'll be interacting with your classmates and your professor. And your electives will usually start your electives usually start the next term. So you start in fall 2024, your electives can start in the spring of 2025. And just thinking about it as stating, like you can complete your degree in a little less than 3 years, or 3 years, like I stated in the average, the 26 months, and you have up to 5 years, which is great. We're all working full time. We have other things going on in life. We have families and things like that. So sometimes we may have to slow it down, just as long as we don't stop. And you can also have the opportunity to transfer up to 12 credit hours of non-degree graduate coursework. All right, talking about the residency, which is my favorite part. I mean, the full MBA program is really great, but I think the residency, especially with the online program, it really gives you that chance to build community in person, which right now we're actually in the residency week for the first Flex MBA online class. So it's really been excited. Yesterday was the first day. And so far, the cohort has, really been interactive, enjoying themselves, meeting with their teams, and, having their class of the structural global industries. And we'll actually go into that a little bit later in the presentation. So going into the residencies, you have 2 weeks in DC, completed at the start of the first and second year of your program. So you'll have a residency. Like now, I stated that the Flex MBA Online has their first residency. This is the very first one. So their program will actually start literally in a couple of weeks. And this allows you to network and collaborate, as I stated before, within the Georgetown community. Flex MBA Online students, you're required to attend the 2 one-week in-person DC residencies and 1 required in-person global residency, and at an international location, which is really, really a lot of fun. Not only are you still learning, but you're also traveling, with your cohort and meeting new individuals. And that's what life is about, networking, building relationships, just building from there. And it also makes life a little bit easier because you have those connections. The Flex MBA Online students that choose to come to campus also will have access to the optional week-long in-person intensive learning experiences. And just to go a little bit in depth to that, like connecting and engaging, like your first residency will be get to know Hariri. You're going to be on campus in our Hariri building. It's literally on the historic Georgetown campus where you can actually visit other schools. You know, we have an incredible, a beautiful, beautiful campus that's right in the Georgetown, DC area, which is like right in between, like we're in DC, but you also have Virginia right there. So you can actually explore a little bit. The DC advantage, expanding your network, engaging with the Flex MBA, which is in person, and you do this on campus. You'll have social activities and service opportunities. And the global business experience, like I stated, you're going to travel, and it's also a consulting project where it's going to be in-country exploration, and you'll have these amazing experiences. So that's really something to look forward to. All right, opening term. So your coursework will, like, this is where it just all begins. It's not just starting the fall semester. You have opening term. So as I talked about the structure of global industries a little while ago, this is in your opening term. So this is a rigorous, fast-paced 3-week course. Once this is complete, your fall semester will begin. Opening term will start usually Monday. Is for fall 2024, these dates aren't confirmed. However, it's going to be around the same time every year. They may not have the same exact dates. It will start on Monday, August 5th through August 23rd. Your first 2 weeks of this class, August 5th through August 16th, you will attend live online synchronous sessions. So don't think that you have to be in person for the whole 3 weeks. No, it does not work like that. You'll be in person for the last week. You'll start out in your live synchronous sessions Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings. These 2 weeks, you will also include substantial asynchronous course content and teamwork. So please plan to be available on evenings and weekends to complete this work. In the third week, August 18th through the 23rd, you'll be in person and on campus for your first program residency. This will consist of full days and evenings with class sessions, team meetings, and faculty coaching. At the end of the week, you will take a final exam and present your team project. Your specific schedule will be provided in mid-July 2024. The program office, the MBA programs office, will register you for these classes, and then you'll be good to start in the fall, which is a late August 2024. And I went through those dates for you, but this is just like a brief summary there for you, just looking at those dates. And I put TBD there because they are not confirmed, but it definitely gives you an idea of the time frame. So I'm all about planning, and I definitely want you to know, like, when are these dates? I know we gotta plan ahead, especially if you have families or other obligations. And this is just helpful just to have, at least a month just to know when these things are happening. The Flex MBA Online Community and Student Life. So this going into like the Student Government Association, which is also called SGA. This is a governing board of elected students that represent the interests and initiatives of the online student body. They strive to continuously improve the McDonough School of Business community, enhance the overall experience for the students, and maximize the value of the McDonough School of Business brand. Now, this is great, to know, because say if you're interested in SGA, just thinking about it for the cohort for the Flex MBA Online, there will be one appointed individual who's a student of the Flex MBA Online. I think there's one from each MBA program, or maybe one from the Flex MBA Online, because it's still brand new. Definitely still, bringing awareness to our new online MBA. So there would be one Flex MBA Online student that could definitely, be the head of this particular MBA program in the Student Government Association. Now, going into the student organizations, start building connections and networking with your class members before the fall. It just gives you time to, starting to get to know individuals. You're not just starting the class or, coming into a team and now we have to introduce ourselves and go over the work. Whereas though we can kind of get introductions and things out of the way prior to that, getting to know individuals prior to actually working with them, that makes it better, for the overall team, just to kind of get right to work. Also, getting involved in a student organization, like I said, is just a great way to network. So think of them more as like professional associations. And there are more than 40 student-run organizations at McDonough School of Business that span cultural service, recreational student government, and interest-based communities. Our student clubs enhance and integrate your academic, social, and professional lives and attest to our culture of community. You can access a few of the student organization like information on our website. Definitely, if you want to know information about that, we could definitely drop the link for you if you want to know more about the type of student organizations we do have. All right, we're going into some information for our McDonough Career Center. All right, with the McDonough Career Center, you'll have many opportunities for you to establish personalized career plan. You will interact with alumni and key players in business and discover your targeted functions, industries, and companies. And just giving you a brief overview of the career plan. So you'll have your summer webinar series, which happens the summer, well, you'll have access to it the summer before you start your fall program. I mean, your program in the fall when you first start. You'll have career deliverables review. You'll have a job search course. You have career coaching, career advancement course, and ongoing workshops and curriculum. Now, you do have access to the Career Center. However, it's solely on you. You know, if you feel like you want their assistance in moving forward with trying to achieve your goals of why you want to get your MBA in the first place, they're definitely there as a resource for you. So I highly suggest that if you're in the MBA program after about a year and you need some assistance in resume or interviewing and things like that, they're definitely there to assist you. All right, so we're going into the career development plan. So just giving you an overview of how it will look year 1, year 2, and year 3. As I mentioned, the summer webinar series. You do have like your JSC, which is called the job search course. And you'll have those throughout the program, which is going to be in year 1 and year 2 and year 2. You'll also have your personal branding, networking, coaching access, your mid-program job change support, career advancement, career clubs, and your One McDonough programming. And then just going on, you do experience some of the same from year 1. However, it does advance a little bit where you'll have like your MBA industry open house. You'll also have your case preparation, your mock interviews, which is super fun and helpful, and your employer events, networking, and just know that employers come to McDonough. If you are in the area and we have something on Fridays called career days, those MBA employers come to us. You would like to come on campus to, visit with them, sit with them, interview with them, you have that option. Also, there will be availability for virtual meets as well. All right, the MBA career experience. Industry coaches and peer advisors, they coach you through the job search process and also manage the relationships with the alumni and recruiters in their respective industries. Here are the industries that they cover and have knowledge of. We also hire over 30 peer advisors from the second year MBA class that take appointments along with the coaches to deliver career clarification, conversations, resume, cover letter, and LinkedIn reviews, mock interviews, and networking strategy. They do speak to about over 14 industries, which is really great. You have consulting, which is really popular. You also have not-for-profit, social impact is popular as well. Financial services is a great big one. A lot of individuals are interested in financial services and entrepreneurship and venture capital. But that doesn't take away from any of the other industries that some students are interested in. And just looking at the post MBA function, you see that percentage there. I'm just giving you a percentage of the individuals who actually go into these industries after they've finished their MBA. Looking at it, you have 22% in consulting, finance, 23%, general management, 36%. That's just giving you an idea of, of that recorded data from those graduates. Okay, focus on the future. So this is giving you a nice overview of the outcomes from the MBA, like the Flex from 2022. Now, we are using Flex MBA data, as you know, this brand new program. So just looking at the top employment industries pre-MBA, you do see the top industries being nonprofit, education, financial services, government, and so on, with consulting and technology. But post MBA, it kind of stays the same a little bit, but it kind of switches out the percentage. So it kind of moved it around a little bit. Post MBA positions, change reported at 4 months. Post graduation, students could report changes in multiple categories. So, like in the company, 54%, in job title, 45%, in function, 49%, and in the industry, 39%. So these are the changes that happens post MBA. So that's a lot of great movement. And in compensation, there's 50+% that are, getting an increased monies. Like, who doesn't want more money? So you know that your MBA would definitely help you just increase overall your network, your compensation, and maybe even flexibility. You never know, depending on what industry you go into and what role you have. So I'm just talking about the Flex MBA Online application components, like getting the application done. Let's get into that information. All right, so we do have letter of recommendation. And let me just rewind a little bit. Just so you know, application components, this is a holistic approach. It's not one component that is looked at more than the other. Everything is all together. It's the whole application in the whole, from the very beginning, from transcripts to your resume to your recommendation letter. Everything is a holistic review. So I'm really excited about that. Just thinking about the letter of recommendation, it has to be from your direct supervisor. And I always like to tell individuals, we only need one. Yes, it's required to be from your direct supervisor. However, if for some reason you're not using your direct supervisor, you do have a optional essay. Please inform the admissions committee of why you're not using your direct supervisor. That's really, really helpful for the committee to understand, why did you follow this requirement? There has to be a reason. If you don't, give us some context about that. No one would know. So that's just some great information. Also, your academic history, like your transcripts, and this must display your final cumulative GPA and your conferral date. We definitely just want to see all of those grades. You have to have the grading scale along with that as well. And if you actually don't have that, you can definitely find that on your school's website of where you went to undergrad or did your master's program. So personal essays. Now you'll have a written and a video essay. I love the video essays. You get to choose from 3 topics to write your essay on. Now those topics are Georgetown community, leave your legacy, and Magis. Now Magis is a Jesuit value that instills a sense of achieving more or greater excellence. So I love those topics, and you get to choose one. In addition, you'll have to submit a 1-minute video essay sharing 5 to 10 random facts about yourself that are not on your resume, and how these facts contribute to who you are as a professional leader. Now, the evaluative interview. Now, this is offered by invitation only. Invitations to interview are extended following each application deadline and will continue up until the decision release date. Test scores, which is always a big one. So I'm sure we may have questions in the Q&A. We probably have questions on that afterwards as well. So you'll have the option to waive the test, and we'll discuss that further in a moment. Now, we like a GMAT, GRE, or executive assessment. Valid scores taken within the last 5 years, and your work experience. We do require a minimum of 2 years work experience. However, if you feel like, hey, I don't quite have 2 years of work experience, I need to ask some questions. You can definitely shoot questions. You can also, set up a Zoom call, and you can definitely go further into that if you'd like to. Also, about the test waiver policy. So some individuals may want to know about this and some may not, but I think it's helpful information overall. Now, applicants must meet one of the 2 criteria below to submit a Flex MBA Online application with a test waiver. Now, the first part of the criteria is to have an undergraduate or graduate GPA of a 3.1 or greater in business administration, science, engineering, technology, or math. That is the first part of the criteria. Have a 3.1 cumulative GPA or greater in business administration, science, engineering, technology, or math. The second part of that waiver policy includes a few parts to it. So if you happen to meet any parts of those criteria, that is really, really great. Now, to either have a undergraduate or graduate cumulative GPA of a 3.3 plus one of the following: CPA, CFA, an undergraduate or graduate level quantitative coursework with a minimum grade of a B or better in at least 2 rigorous courses. So, for example, that could be finance, accounting, stats, calculus, advanced math, engineering, or physics. So it's good to know, just to give you examples of those rigorous quantitative classes. Just know that the grade has to be a B or better. Last portion to that second part of the criteria for the waiver policy: 3 or more years of post-undergraduate full-time work experience in a quantitative, mathematical, or analytical field where the majority of your job responsibilities require rigorous quantitative analysis. So that is the waiver policy, and definitely could speak to more of that for anyone who kind of wants to ask more questions in depth. And then the deadlines, like I said, the application is now open for fall 2024, so it's so exciting. The application deadline for round 1, now we all know like some individuals are aiming for certain rounds, so this is giving you the breakdown. Round 1, application deadline October 2nd. Look forward to your decision December 7th. And if you get that favorable decision and you are accepted into the program, your deposit due date is February 1st. Now, round 2, your application deadline is January 4th. Your decision notification date is March 18th. Your deposit due date would be April 18th. Round 3, and as the time go on, you do see how, those dates start to get closer and closer together, from the application to the decision to the deposit due date. So you'll definitely see that. In round 3, your application deadline is March 26th, decision notification date May 1st, deposit due date May 13th, and your round 4 dates: application April 30th, May 29th for your decision, and June 5th for the deposit. And as you can see, those round 4 dates are really, really close. So if you're accepted in round 4 and that's the round that you apply for, you would definitely have to turn around and pay your deposit. So it'll definitely be a quick turnaround. So just thinking about, just planning that out, thinking about like what round you do want to be a part of, just looking at the dates that your decision coming in, just good dates to kind of mark on your calendar, and even those deposit due dates, and just knowing that the deposit will be $2,000 if you are accepted into the program and you want to accept that offer. And stay connected with me and all of us at Georgetown in the MBA admissions office. You definitely see my information there, but I can also drop it in the Q&A too, or Madison can drop it in now if someone asks. My email, you do have the MBA admissions direct email for those general questions. Our phone number, the website for you to do more research, get more information, build up your questions, and just go ahead and shoot it to us. We are on social media as well. So we have our Facebook, our Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, where you can catch all of those recorded information sessions. And